Man, oh man, oh man. Tyson Fury maintains an unblemished record. Sits at 32-0-1 with 23 knockouts, and his most recent victim happens to be that of Dillian Whyte. He retains his WBC World Heavyweight title. He is the man to beat, even though Usyk took all the remaining titles, the other 3 titles, away from Anthony Joshua last summer. Tyson Fury, the fight that was supposed to happen between him and Anthony Joshua reportedly never happened. Talks between him and Usyk, that ended up falling by the wayside. Those talks ended up becoming fairly real, where Anthony Joshua was going to be stepping aside and accepting step-aside money for all the lead up to this fight between Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte, for all the lead up, the discrepancies, the fallout, the arguing, what have you. I mean, it's either on, it's off, it's this, it's that. The truth of the matter is that the fight came, the fight went. Dillian Whyte did not show up as prepared as we expected him, or as we expected to see him. This is not the Dillian Whyte that fought Alexander Povetkin. This was a show of Dillian Whyte. I don't know what happened. He looked good in the weigh-ins. This was one of the biggest British heavyweight boxing fights of recent history. The crowd was insane. The atmosphere was insane. People showed up. People bought these tickets. They showed up. They flew in from all over the place to catch this fight. It was that big of a scene in the UK. And Dillian Whyte showed up with a subpar plan to try and stop Tyson Fury. He had no plan, no answers. Tyson Fury basically walked him down and took control from the beginning, walked him down, executed his game plan as he always does. Great boxing, great movement, and ends up cutting Dillian Whyte in the 4th round over his right eye, and then stops him in the 6th round with the crazy knockout by way of an uppercut, a right-handed uppercut. He caught Dillian Whyte and lights out. That's all she wrote. Tyson Fury remains undefeated and remains the man to beat at heavyweight. Some will say Usyk, depending on how you see it. Tyson Fury's number 1, or Usyk's number 1, based on the fact that he has more titles. He has the other 3 remaining titles. Tyson Fury has the lineal and the WBC, and obviously his resume is a little bit better than that of Usyk as far as heavyweight is concerned. Of course, Usyk was the undisputed cruiserweight champ, where he held every single piece of gold in that division prior to moving up to heavyweight. So when we talk about resumes, overall resumes, well, look at the accomplishments, or maybe not resumes, but accomplishments. Usyk is definitely the more accomplished of the two. When we talk about heavyweights and their resumes in the heavyweight division, Tyson Fury definitely outshines Usyk with his record and his body of work in the heavyweight division. Of course, Usyk overall as a career, and as far as accomplishments are concerned, that's where the argument is as to who's number 1, who's number 2 at the moment. Usyk, of course, ended up shocking the world with that decision victory and a one-sided victory at that. An amazing performance that he put together against Anthony Joshua last summer. And now the fight to make would be Tyson Fury against Usyk. Usyk and Joshua look like they're back in talks, and it looks like they're going to be potentially facing off against one another in July, maybe in August, maybe as early as June. But right now, it looks like July seems to be the date that they're going to be shooting for. So we'll wait and see what's going to happen with that. Obviously, the delays happen because the political conflict between the two countries, Russia and Ukraine, which ended up seeing a lot of the fighters go respond for their country and enlist, or at least assist the military. Some enlisted into the military, into the guard, and responded for their country. And Usyk was one of those gentlemen that did that. That conflict continues between Russia and Ukraine, and that ended up causing a lot of delays, a lot of issues as far as sports, because that is a bigger issue, a bigger dilemma than what a sport would be. So it looks like Usyk has returned to training camp, and he's back in talks with his management team, and it looks like they're going to try to get that fight back with now the rematch with Anthony Joshua, now that Tyson Fury ended up pushing through with his matchup with Dillian Whyte and got that out of the way and over with. That was the mandatory. Remember, that was the mandatory fight to fight Dillian Whyte after Dillian Whyte ended up taking the interim title from Alexander Povetkin, or it was a silver title that he ended up winning. Those were amazing fights that Dillian Whyte had against Povetkin. It was the interim title, WBC interim, so this was the unification belt for these two fighters. That rematch with Alexander Povetkin ended up happening last March, and their first matchup happened August of 2020, in which Povetkin ended up stopping Dillian Whyte with a nasty knockout in the 5th round. He came back and stopped Povetkin in the 4th round, and Povetkin subsequently to that fight, or posthumously, after that fight, he ends up retiring. He ends up hanging his gloves up, and you have one less threat in the heavyweight division in Alexander Povetkin. And Dillian Whyte secured the interim WBC title, and the talks began all year between him and Dillian Whyte, between him trying to get another shot, another crack at Anthony Joshua. He has now 3 losses. His 3 losses are at the hand of Tyson Fury, which just occurred, his knockout loss to Alexander Povetkin, and his loss to Anthony Joshua dating back to 2015. So he has a really good resume. He has losses. All 3 of his losses were by way of stoppage. Of his 28 wins, he has 19 knockouts, and you look at his resume, and he has a solid resume and a solid body of work with great names on his resume as far as victories are concerned, and nothing to be ashamed of when it comes to the people that he lost to, because he's got Povetkin, a fight which he avenged. He got the loss to Anthony Joshua, who's still on top of the heavyweight division, or at least number 3 in the heavyweight division at the moment. And he's got the loss to Tyson Fury, who's arguably number 1 right now, or number 2, depending on where you sit at, on what side of the fence you sit at with that argument between him and Usyk. So nothing to be ashamed of for him, except for the fact that so much hype, so many issues, not showing up to a press conference, all the drama that, and to the lead up and all this. Good for him, right? Because he ended up securing his purse. He ended up, several positive things occurred because of the way that he conducted his business and defended himself. But a subpar performance, and he basically looked like he had no game plan, and whatever little game plan he had flew out the fence as soon as Tyson Fury started putting on the pressure. Tyson Fury started doing the pitter patter and connecting, and those shots, once they start landing and his combinations start landing, he's able to maneuver very well, maneuver around the ring very well, and Tyson Fury, that is, and he outboxes his opponents, and he ended up catching Dillian Whyte multiple times, softened them up, and eventually prepped them for that right uppercut, which closed the show. Tyson Fury continues to impress, and if he doesn't have the big awaited showdown with Anthony Joshua or the showdown with Alexander Usyk, that may very well be two of the fights that we may always clamor for, but he has left more than enough in the ring. He came back and did the impossible and accomplished the impossible, and potentially walks away with an unblemished record, because there's already talks that he's retiring from the sport. He says he will not retire as an athlete, because he's potentially going to be looking at having a crossroads type fight with one Francis Ngannou, who's the current UFC heavyweight champion and who has concrete for fists. Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou would be one of those big money makers, one of those big cross-style events. Tyson Fury believes that he's not going to retire as an athlete, but he will be walking away from the sport of boxing. If this is true and he does proceed with those plans, then we may never get to see him against the winner of the rematch of Usyk Joshua, or against both of them potentially. 32-0-1, 23 knockouts. If this is indeed the final fight that we have for Tyson Fury, what an amazing, amazing, amazing career. And more than that, what an amazing second half of his career, after coming back from potential suicide, from the huge weight gain that he went through, the depression. He battled through those demons. He battled through adversity, through personal obstacles, got himself back into shape, and got himself back into contention and into title shot, secured a title, won a title, or secured a title shot, won the title, and made a name for himself and secured his legacy because of the latter part of his career, that second act of his career. Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, defeats Dillian Whyte, remains with an unblemished record, a 32-0-1, 23 knockouts, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, and another impressive showing by the Gypsy King. I leave you guys with that. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow the show. Thank you guys for all the downloads. Thank you guys for the love, the support, the continued love and support. Don't forget to comment. Check me out on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Check me out on Twitter and follow me on Twitter. And comment. Go ahead and leave me comments on there. We'll chat. We'll get into some conversations, some discussions, what have you. Check me out on there, and I can't wait to hear from you guys. Thank you guys again for all the love, for the support, for the downloads. Don't forget to tell your friends about it. Slowly but surely, the show continues to grow, and this is all about you guys. This is me doing this from the love of my heart and sitting in front of this microphone for each and every one of you guys who has been following me from day one to the new followers that I've gotten over time. So thank you guys again. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you all on the next episode. Have a good night.